Hey everyone, welcome to the Week 7 Start Sit Show. I'm Jim Coventry of RotoWire. You can catch me over at Jim Coventry NFL. I do keep a ranking sheet up on the screen here. Green means players have perceived upside from the ranking they're listed at. Red-ish means there's perceived downside where a player is ranked based, so there's upside and downside for those players. So just be aware of that's what those red and green mean. Obviously, there's no rank, there's no highlight a player, just standard expectations for that player. All right, let's get to it here. Got a couple of super chat questions. We'll start out with those. Got Chris coming in, half point PPR, Chase Brown or Marvin Harrison Jr. So we look at this one. Harrison's been cleared from a concussion. We don't like the production that Harrison's had for us so far this year. But again, the Chargers are kind of, in my mind, a paper tiger on defense. They've had a real easy schedule of opponents. Asante Samuel, their best corner, is out. They have Joey Bosa's probably not playing, which means they're not going to have much of a pass rusher. So that said, I have to think that Marvin Harrison sees targets, but that said, he hasn't had a big game since, was it week 2? Chase Brown, he has a lot of room to run because defenses have to kind of navigate how to play those receivers, but Cleveland plays a lot of man. And so that means that this is not going to be a too high shell look. So I don't know that Chase Brown has the same chasms of field to work with that he usually has. I'm going to give Marvin Harrison the edge here because I think Chase Brown doesn't normally have that advantage that you'd have against most zone heavy teams. Darnold or Stroud, without Aiden Hutchinson, that really makes a difference because without that pass rush, he's their whole pass rush in Detroit. And now those corners really kind of get left on an island because they have to cover longer. And Darnold is in a potentially good spot because Detroit's lights out against the run. So with the passing game between Jefferson, Addison, and Aaron Jones, I do think Sam Darnold's in a good spot here. It's hard to sit Stroud, but without Nico Collins, and I know he had 3 touchdowns, but the yardage was low last week. It's hard to sit Stroud. Stroud is safer. Stroud has like 0 implosion ability. So I think Stroud is your safest play, but I think Darnold potentially could have a big game for you here, but you're going to risk Sam Darnold. Like the last 6 quarters, he hasn't been great. He's made some mistakes. So Darnold is your upside downside play. If you got to shoot for the ceiling, Darnold could get you that big game, but he also could, muff it. Stroud is safe. If you want to bank like 18 safe points, maybe 20, Stroud's your guy. Volatility, that's going to be Darnold. And another super chat sideshow mill, Aaron Jones or Kareem Hunt full PPR. Aaron Jones is a real difficult matchup. I assume based on the injury report that he is a full go here. He should get it done as a receiver in this game. Kareem Hunt is benefiting from really 3 and 4 tight end sets where they're just mauling people up front and running the ball. 49ers are not a good run defense. I think Hunt has a really good floor here, but he has to find the end zone to realize it. Aaron Jones, he's a little more volatile because if he cleans up as a receiver, there's always a chance he scores a touchdown. Hunt is safer this week based on the matchup for Aaron Jones. I would start Jones any other week, but this week I'd be hesitant. But Jones is your boom bust play. Again, Jones could go off as a receiver here. And if he does, then he beats Hunt. So again, Hunt for safe, Jones for boom bust. And now, Thomas, you just put in thing, but I don't have a question with that in the super chat. So and you're probably gonna be buried about 80 questions deep, and I'm not gonna be able to find that. So if you can find a way to, you guys, when you do the super chat, I love you do that. Put the question at the same time because I can get your question done. All right, let's see what we got here. United States Chase Brown, Mason Harrison. Oh, funny. Somebody just had the Chase Brown Harrison thing. So I explained those two. So you just heard that. Jordan Mason, it's tough. Kansas City's a really good run defense. Mason's not heavily used as a receiver. He really needs to get it done at the goal line to hit upside for you. In this case, I probably, again, Brown, with Cleveland playing so much man, I think that could be problematic. So I'm probably going to lean Harrison and Mason in this case. Love Brown most weeks, but again, against a man-heavy team, I don't think he has all those free yards that he normally gets in most games. All right, what we got next year? Julian, Smith and Jigba or Mooney? Smith and Jigba hasn't gotten the ceiling games we wanted out of him. He had one game earlier that it was really good. Mooney was down last week, but he had 3 straight good games before him. Seattle is down both of their starting cornerbacks here. And here's the one problem is if Atlanta runs the ball with a lot of success and teams have just been gashing Seattle on the ground, there could be a world where they don't have to throw as much, and therefore Mooney could be downgraded. So based on that, Smith and Jigba, I think, has a higher floor because Kenneth Walker. We don't. Somebody asked about Kenneth Walker later. I kind of saw that when I was opening up the screen. We don't know. He said he has an illness. My guess is if he's still sick, he probably plays, but he probably splits a little more than usual. So Atlanta's decent against the run. So I think they do have to throw a bit here, and they don't get pressure. Atlanta doesn't get pressure. So Smith and Jigba is a high floor play. Mooney has a higher ceiling, I believe, because we've seen with the big games. But I think also they might run real successfully. So Mooney's boom bust. If you want to shoot for ceiling, if you want the safest floor, you go Smith and Jigba. And then appreciate you. Evans or Deontay Johnson, both are clearly less than 100%. They took Evans off the injury report, which we love that. But Deontay Johnson had ankle injury, I think a hamstring, and I think ribs popped up. So that's a little bit troubling. So based on it, though, Evans against Baltimore is a great matchup. Baltimore is not good against the pass this year. Deontay Johnson has a sweet matchup as well. And when we look at Deontay Johnson, he has upside and downside. I don't know the injury status. I really don't know that. And again, same with Evans. And can Evans be used as a decoy? I'm going to default to the better player. I'm going to say Evans has a very good matchup, and the tackles are both healthy for Tampa. So Baker should have time to throw. Because of Deontay's 3 injuries, it gives me enough pause to say I got to lean Evans here, who is off the injury report. Johnson, if you have a gut feel on Johnson, I get it. But Evans could have that 2 touchdown game against this specific defense. All right, next question here. Brave to make it sure I'll appreciate you. Tyreek, Dell, or Mason. Tyreek, I think he had 8 targets last week. And there's something to be said for that. And they got him going a little bit. And here, what do you have? I'll tell you, 6 for 69. I think we take that. And it was against New England. And this week we get Indianapolis, a much, much friendlier matchup. I think a week of game planning, and I think Tyler Huntley has a little more time to acclimate with the receivers. I'm going with Tyreek Hill. I'm not even thinking twice. I think this is the type of defense where he could get a big player too. Maybe we're going to roll there. Tank Dell. So what we're going to see here is Green Bay can be had, and Dell had the good game last week, but he's been struggling because teams are playing too high against him. They didn't last year because they had a fullback, and if there aren't any fullbacks in the roster, I don't count Brooks a fullback, whatever. But that said, Dell's going to get targets here. It probably is a high scoring game. So Mason, like I said earlier, he doesn't really catch passes. He has to fall in the end zone for him to have a big fantasy day. Those big yardage games have kind of dried up. So I'm going to go Tyreek and Dell here. If you really feel like he's going to fall in the end zone, then you can play him over Dell. But I think Dell's floor is higher. I think 5 or 6 catches is like a baseline for him in this game. Ethan, half point, McConkey, Sermon, Zamir White, or Bucky Irving. So Tampa Bay has, I call the death matchup. Baltimore just stuffs the run, and they stuff it without adding bodies in the box. So, and it may be a 3-man deal now. Rachaad White might play, and it sounds like Tucker might have earned, the coach said he earned some opportunity. Now, if we're talking a 3-man backfield against an elite run defense, I'm kind of worried here. Zamir White, A, I think he's been horrible this year. B, I don't know if he's playing. So I think we get down to Sermon and McConkey. McConkey has a really good matchup against Arizona. I know they like to run the ball. Arizona's decent against the run. They're horrible against the pass. Sermon, we've seen it. He started out slow 2 weeks ago. Then he got in the end zone, and he had a decent game last week. He just was horrible. The matchup isn't bad. He's going to split work with Goodson. I think the safest floor play in this is McConkey. If the swing for the fence thing, Sermon would be the goal line back. Could he get 2 touchdowns? Yes. Do I predict it? No. McConkey is the safest play here. If you really have to swing for defense, I don't think McConkey has a go-off game. So if you need 20 points, Sermon's unlikely to get it, but that would be if he falls in the end zone twice, and he is using the passing game, so you could get that, but you also could get a 3 out of him. So McConkey's your safe play. Colts or Rams, D. Colts playing Miami. Your Colts are so beat up. Oh man! And then the Rams. I'm just gonna look who they're playing here. Rams are playing the Vegas Raiders. Both bad. They're both bad defenses. I would probably go with the Rams here. I think the Raiders with O'Connell would in their offensive line. I think they're missing a lineman too in this game. Dylan Parham's out, I believe, one of their guards, and that hurts them as well. So I probably for that reason, if I go with the Rams. Kevin, more into you. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. Also, you need 3 in PPR. Higgins, Hill, Kirk. Kirk already played. So yeah, Kirk had he's in a London game right now. Mooney, Dobbins, Jake. That's a lot of players. Oh my gosh. You need 3. Brian Robinson is off the injury report. Brian Robinson has an amazing matchup. We're gonna assume he's healthy. The fact that he got in practices, we limited, but he got in. Robinson has a great matchup, so love him. Dobbins, Arizona's decent against run, but Dobbins is again, unless Dobbins is a tough matchup, it's hard to sit him. But man, you need 3. Um, Higgins is getting more targets than Chase most weeks. Tyreek Hill, like we talked about earlier, he had a decent stat line last week, and it's an easy matchup this week. I think those are the 4 you're between. I think you're between Dobbins, Robinson, Hill, and Higgins. Jacobs is like a floor play. He hasn't really had the ceiling games. So because of Robinson's injury, maybe he's not 100%. If they get a lead, maybe they sit him. So for that reason, I'll go Higgins, Hill, and Dobbins. Mooney's too boom or bust based on this group. So that's the way I'd go with that. Oh, I got another super chat question, and Delroy, I'll come back to you. All right. Good morning to you as well. Oh man, Richardson or Dalton. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes. So Dalton, where do I have Dalton ranked? I don't have Dalton ranked terribly, do I? Let's see where I have him at. I'm trying to find him on the sheet here. I have him at 22 with upside, and I have Richardson at 18 with upside. I would imagine with no Jonathan Taylor, imagine that he will run more than he has because of no Taylor. And to me, that puts Richardson in play. Miami is banged up. Jalen Phillips has been done for the season for a couple weeks. That hurts them. I think overall, this game can get it can be sneaky scoring. I know Miami has the quarterback issue. It can be sneaky scoring. I probably would be inclined to go with Richardson. Dalton is a great matchup, but ultimately he's Andy Dalton. And he just all of a sudden just have that nowhere game. Now Richardson's done nothing. 50% of his passes completed. I'm giving Richardson the edge for the rushing. They both have upside. They both could go off here. I would lean Richardson. Good question. All right, let's get back to the live questions. And I got Delroy on now. Half PPR, start 3. St. Brown, London, Flower, Smith and Jigba, Wandale, and Bateman. In this one, you know what? Look, St. Brown isn't always getting a ton of targets. I get it. Because they haven't thrown a lot. Their running game's been really good. I think Minnesota shoots out. I don't think you could ever sit St. Brown. I don't think you could ever sit London. London's averaging over 10 targets the last 4 games, and he's clearly getting a great connection with his quarterback. Both corners are out for Seattle. And Zay Flowers last week proved a lot. It was the first time that he produced in a game the running game worked. It was like the games where the running game didn't work, he blew up. The 2 games where they ran, he didn't get targets, so he was no good. Last week, it worked. So Tampa Bay is no hindrance. I'm playing my 3 best players here. I'm playing the top 3 illicit: St. Brown, London, and Flowers, and calling it a day because they all should be super high floor plays. All right, we got next Kraft or Ertz. Ertz is just getting volume, right? There's no real upside with him, but there's a floor. And I think that's where we kind of land. Ertz does not have more than 10.8 PPR points in a game. His ceiling isn't high enough to say we're going to put him in over Kraft. Kraft has those 2 and 3 target games. He doesn't get a lot of targets. He had the 1 game with the 9. He doesn't get a lot of targets, but he's been really good when he gets them. I would go with Kraft because Kraft has some upside, and Ertz has a 2 for 10. He has a 3 for 22 in the last 3 weeks. So not a high enough floor, not a high enough ceiling. I think you just go with Kraft because the opportunity is better. Chris. Full PPR, need a receiver and a flex. Juju, Shakir, Goodson, and Algier. I like Algier as a sneaky start. If you're not, you guys, by the way, everybody out there, if you're not on the RotoWire Fantasy Football YouTube page, check it out. Subscribe if you can think about it, and maybe get the notifications thing going here. And because I do like sneaky starts, like one of the videos is that. And Algier, I put as a sneaky start. Seattle can't stop anybody on the ground. Algier gets about 10 touches a week, so I like him in there. And with Shakir healthy and the presence of Amari Cooper on the field, even if he doesn't know the offense, the defense has to play them completely different now. Shakir played limited snaps last week, so that's why he didn't do anything. But Shakir's a big part of that passing game. I'd go with Shakir and Algier. Juju, if he had a better matchup, he's going to see Charvarius Ward and the Amador Lenoir. I don't like his matchup there. I love Juju a lot of weeks. I'm going to play him a lot of weeks. This is one week I'm going to shy away. And Goodson, again, very nice player, and he could do something. But Shakir and Algier and me are safer. Got a super chat question here before I come back to roll. Super chat, Thomas. Oh, good, Thomas. I'm glad you put your question in here. 6-point passing to Murray or Darnold. I know Murray's been real up and down, and I know I'm overly high on him every week. But honestly, if you look at the Chargers have played a very easy schedule of opponents. Their defense, everybody's thinking they're great, and maybe they're good, but the talent they have, coaching is not making that much of a difference. It's the schedule. I think there's a go spot for Murray. I think that Murray's going to be just fine here. So Asante Samuel's out. Joey Bosa, I don't think he's playing here. That's critical. And look, Murray's run for big yards in most of his games, and that's a big difference here. And I got to click the question on actually here. And so yeah, we're going to go with Murray there. Darnold, like I said, Darnold has real upside here. This could be a shootout. But just like Murray, Darnold has downside, and you don't really run much against this team. Now, I know it's different, a quarterback running versus a running back running, but I'm going to give Murray the edge here. Flex, I assume that's Brian Robinson or Juju. So, look, Brian Robinson has a cake matchup here. And even if he's limited, I got to play him over Juju. Like you heard me say a minute ago, I love Juju this year. I was in on him. I got him on the waiver right before that New Orleans game, and I suggested that New Orleans game ahead of him as he was on a sneaky start at the wild card that week. But I don't like the matchup with the 49ers because man coverage, I don't know that he's winning against at least half of the time he's going to see Ward, and that's not a good matchup. I'm going to go Brian Robinson there. And second half begins. Nice little drop. Bigsby. That's why I don't throw Bigsby many passes. He had a 28-yard catch earlier. So let's get back to the questions here. And all right, so good. I got that. Let me see where I was at here. Row. I was on row, I believe. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, flex. Juju, Pittman, Tracy, and Whittington. Oh man, that's good. That's good. I know Pittman hasn't done much with Richardson, and I know Richardson's been like awful. I got to go with Pittman here. I got to go with Pittman as a player that's going to see some volume and going to hope he gets in the end zone. Tracy, we don't exactly know what his work. I always say get work, but Singletary is still going to get work as well. So that's a little concerning. Dearness Johnson rolling in the open field. All right. So, the Tyrone Tracy thing is interesting because I don't know how much work he gets. And that's where I'm a little bit conflicted. Philadelphia is probably a little better against the run than a lot of the opponents they've recently faced. Whittington's interesting because Cup's probably not playing there. He's not expected to play. Whittington's targets have been up the last 2 games. The floor has been great. I'm going to go with Pittman and Whittington here. Najee, that's a good question. I know Najee had a really big game last week. This week's matchup, the Jets can't stop anyone on the ground. Najee's getting the work. Ladd's a good floor play, but I think Najee is a safer floor play because he's going to get those 14, 15 touches. It's a cake matchup. He has a better chance of scoring a touchdown than Ladd does. It's like it really is 51-49 to me, but it's going to be an edge to Najee. If you got a gut feel, would it definitely go with that? Harlan, good morning. Trying to watch these plays come in. 22-10 Jaguars. That's still a hot start for the Patriots, right? And then everybody was like, they're going to crush them. And then obviously then things settled in. All right. Harlan, Geno Smith or Brock Purdy. I've got them close in my ratings, but Purdy, I have 11 and Geno, I got it 9. I probably should have put a green mark on Geno for upside because I think this game shows out. Here's the thing with Geno. Geno has gotten garbage time yardage the last 3 games, but he has like 1 touchdown in every game, I think, except for 1 maybe. He hasn't been very good, but the whole thing is Geno struggled under pressure. They're playing Atlanta. Atlanta doesn't, they have Judon. There's no pressure there. He's not the key component of a pass rush. So Geno's going to be clean in this game. I think Geno has real upside. I'm going to go Geno over Purdy. I think that Purdy game is low scoring. And then you got Chubb or McConkey. Man, it's so hard for me to ever say no to Nick Chubb. And there's a possibility that that line gets ramped up because they got the two tackles back. I think Ethan Posick, the center, looks like he's in line to play. That would be huge because they have 4/5 of their line back. And I think they're already talking about going run heavy. But I think McConkey's a safer floor here. And it's half PPR, but Chubb's probably not catching any passes here. And I don't know how many points they're scoring. Chubb is a great matchup. I'll tell you this. McConkey is your safe play. Put him in as a safe play. But don't be surprised if Nick Chubb gets 12 carries but breaks one and he scores a touchdown. So consider Chubb a boom bust play. He might only get 4 points. That he could have a 4-point game for you, and that would be a problem. So just understand there's a lot of risk with Chubb. The McConkey's safer, but if you want to go boom bust, I do believe there's a world where he does something more than we expect. Jay Red, appreciate you as well, man. Good morning. PPR, Ertz or Otten? I think that's pretty similar. Ertz and Otten had like 3 40-yard games, and last week he had 16 and a touchdown, maybe 13 and a touchdown. So touchdowns are fickle. The yardage has been there. Baltimore isn't as terrible. I mean, as shut down as Titans as you'd think. They're attackable. Ertz pretty much has a floor. I think that said, Otten is more likely to be a part of the offense than Ertz. I give Otten a 60-40 edge here. All right, let's see. You got next here. Next one. Full PPR, Murray or Andy Dalton. Maybe you had that question before. I think I answered already. I said Murray for over Dalton. Maybe it was somebody else. And then Goodson, Sermon. Yeah, somebody else had that. So Murray, you heard me explain it for somebody else, so that's fine. And then Goodson, Sermon, or Bateman. You know, Goodson and Sermon both have paths where they could do well. Goodson, if it gets hurry up, which I don't know against Miami, it gets to be a hurry up game. So I don't know that might be the game that we'd like to see for him. And there's a lot of risk there. Bateman, the targets haven't been great, but the production's been good the last few weeks. I give Bateman an edge here against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is really struggling against the pass. I think Bateman has a reasonable floor. If it's a boom bust play you need, like I said, Sermon could fall in the end zone. He could fall in the end zone a couple times. He probably won't. So that makes him boom bust. Bateman is probably the most likely player to get you about 8 or so PPR points. The other ones are close. So Bateman's for floor. Sermon is boom bust for you. I got another super chat question. I'll come back to Brandon. Trevor Lawrence looking in the end zone. Nope. Overthrows. Man, Gabe Davis getting a lot of red zone love the last 2 weeks. All right. Foxborough News, 16-man, half PPR. You got Murray and Goff, same team, and you need flex help. Between Murray and Goff has not attempted a lot of passes in the last few weeks. Now, he had a game where he really came through on low attempts. Minnesota is a very good defense. There is a world this game shoots out. But listen to the pass attempts for Goff, 25, 18, 23, and he even had a 28. So, but Murray's been up and down too. So I think Murray's rushing yardage is going to be solid in this game. Dearness Johnson trying to get in. All right, to the 2. So it's a tough call because Goff has a wild range of outcomes. And I think it's more wild than Murray's because I don't know. Goff could get you 3 touchdowns and I wouldn't blink, but he could also get 1 and throw for 220. It's a real tough call here. I just think that there's gonna be so many more points scored in that Detroit game. That gives me Goff a 51-49 edge, which means it's a gut call, but I will lean Goff. And then Harrison or Eckler. Like I said earlier, Harrison's back from the concussion. He hasn't been used enough. But I think that Christian Kirk get in. He gets his feet all out of bounds. That would have been nice if he got in. All right, we'll see if there's a replay on that, but we'll see. All right, so Harrison Jr., I have him ranked as a 25th receiver with upside because, again, Asante Samuel is out and no Joey Bosa. Did Kirk get his feet in? 1. Nope. Second foot out. All right. And then Eckler is going to be we don't know his real role because I don't know how healthy Brian Robinson is. So that makes it difficult. And Well, look at Eckler. I have him ranked 27th. It's a great matchup. I just don't know how much they need him. I'm going to give Harrison an edge for floor here. I'm going to give Harrison the edge. I just don't know how much they need to throw to their running back in this one because Murray's more the receiving back. All right, let's get back to here. All right. Let's see where I was at question wise here. All right, Brandon, here we go. Trade away Smith for Jacobs. You have Metcalf on around. Well, yeah, you got wide receiver. So anytime you get a running back and bolster your roster, I'd recommend that deal. Big fella, good morning. PPR, Ayuk, McConkey, or Hunt. Ayuk's not getting it. I watched the film. He's not getting the separation he did last year. He had a big game a couple of weeks ago, but he is just not. Usually he's like so wide open so fast. And that's not been the case this year. And now they're playing Kansas City, so that's tough. I think Hunt has the safest floor of this group because they're just mauling people with like 3 tight ends on the field, and that should continue on. He has a good chance to score. McConkey's also very safe, but the game could go a lot. The Chargers game could go a lot of ways. It could be a run-heavy game. So I would give Hunt the edge for floor here. I think your boom bust play is Ayuk because even though Kansas City is tough against receivers, Ayuk has the biggest upside of this group. So if you got to swing for defenses, Ayuk. Otherwise, just go with Hunt, Otten, or Pitts. Yeah, it's tough too because again, Pitts has had some big plays lately, but the targets have been low. Otten had a number of 40-yard games. They both could disappear at a moment's notice. I just think that Seattle game, they both could be high scoring. Since Pitts has been used a little more as a weapon the last 3 games, I'm going to give Pitts the lean 51-49 there. Nah, make it 55-45. It's a little more than that. All right. All right, we got Bill. Morning to you as well. You need Juju, Algier, Dobbs, Mason, Garendo, starting Bijan. All right. So yeah, Mason's got the shoulder. We really don't know how serious it is and how much he'll split work he's supposed to play. Algier is a great flex because Seattle just given up all kinds of yards on the ground, and Algier gets his right around double digit touches each week. So that's a real benefit for him. So, and Dobbs kind of got back into good graces last week, and he gets Houston. Houston's down Kamari Lassiter, their outside corner. They're down Jimmy Ward, their free safety. I would tend to go with Dobbs and Algier here. But if you, like I said, Mason's a risk, but if Mason is healthy, which we don't know, and that's the problem. If Mason's healthy, it's gonna be Mason and Dobbs. But if you're worried about Mason's injury, be safe and go with Algier. But if you're willing to take a little risk, if Mason plays, Mason should have a decent game. But again, he needs that touchdown. They really don't throw to him much. So there's that. But yeah, so probably based on the injury, we probably look at Dobbs and Algier right now. It's risk tolerance for you on Mason. It really is risk tolerance. All right. Top 5. Who should you flex? Pickens, Wandale, Worthy, Najee, or Mostert. The Jets are horrific against the run. They just give up big piles of yardage. Najee is probably your best floor player. Pickens, I have no idea if the Jets, they usually don't travel Sauce Gardner. They have DJ Reed's out. Michael Carter, their slot corner's out. And it's almost like if they rotate Sauce Gardner into Pickens, then that's kind of a done day. But if it's not, Pickens could go off. So Pickens is your boom bust play because we don't know where Gardner's going to play. And if the Steelers are going to move Pickens away from him. So that's the risk there. So I would flex Najee for floor. I would go Pickens for boom bust. If you need a huge game and you're risking floor, then that would be the Pickens move. I got another super chat question. Then who do I have to come back to? I had to come back to Brian Pope after that. You see here, Drake May dropping back. Complete. Loving this. Oh, Austin Hooper. All right. All right, let's see. Oh, we got a couple. We got Scott. We got 2 of them. Scott, Brian Robinson or Amari Cooper. So they both have risk. We don't know how much of the offense Cooper's going to be. We don't know if he's in for a package of plays. We don't know if there are certain routes he'll run. There's risk there. Brian Robinson, it's all about the knee, right? We don't really know. But Brian Robinson has a phenomenal matchup here. And they can't stop. I mean, they lost so many of their only good defenders, Carolina. So I got to say Brian Robinson is kind of the way to go here. Cooper is going to be tough in this first week. Could he go off? Yeah, he could. but I just don't know how much they're going to integrate him yet. It might take a full week of practice to get that, and I know he didn't quite have that. So I'd give Robinson the edge, Scott. And then Fabian, Kincaid, or Otten. This kind of goes back to the Amari Cooper question, right? If he's on the field on passing downs, defense are going to play them differently. I was saying before the season, I was worried about the Bills because defense kind of pack things in. There's nobody that scared him. Cooper can, they know Cooper gets vertical. He can get vertical. So defense has got to play them a little different now. So I think Kincaid gets opened up. I'm going to give Kincaid and he's been getting targets anyway. So I think Kincaid is the way to go here. All right. And then Juju, Hopkins, or Waddle. You know, Hopkins has been decent, right? I'm going to give Waddle the edge here, though. Juju, I don't like his matchup. I like Juju. Like I said, I loved him last week or last two, whatever his last game was, 2 weeks ago, I think that was. But I'm going to give Waddle the edge. Waddle is coming on late. I think that bye week gives Huntley a chance to work with these receivers. Waddle wasn't terrible in the last game. I think he had 8 PPR points, not terrible. So I'm going to give Waddle the edge here. I just think they're going to get him at the defense is facing the Colts are terrible. So I would look at that. All right, let's get back to the live questions here. And I was on Brian's. All right, Brian. Hold on, let's go watch the play. Drake May dropping back. Interception, but dropped. Oh my gosh. Oh man. It's funny. I was on XM this morning with Alan Soslowski, and New England comes down the field. They scored a quick touchdown. And my good buddy Alan Soslowski is like, man, we got the little insight here. Drake May was probably the big play this week. And it's funny in football, right? It's always not so fast. Alan always a good points. But yeah, now we see all of a sudden he hasn't done a lot in the last 2 quarters. I guess a bad defense. Rookie quarterback, sometimes it's a little bit nerve-wracking. All right, let's see what we got here. We are on Brian Pope. You need 2 running backs: Garendo, Hunt, Algier, and Jones. Do you mean? I mean, if you mean Aaron Jones, he's in. I don't know if there's a different Jones that I'm not seeing. I assume there's not another Jones. I assume it's Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones a must play. If he's in the lineup, they get tough matchup, but as a receiver, he gets it done. Hunt is the next safest play because he'll get volume and they just maul people with extra tight ends. The 49ers aren't a good run defense. Again, I'm assuming you mean Aaron Jones here. Algier is a very strong third play in that group because, like I said, terrible run defense he's facing. He gets about 10 touches a week. Garendo's too risky. In this one. And remember, he got a long run against a bad defense in his last game. So there's that. All right. Cherie. Dalton Schultz or Dalton Kincaid. Oh, you get the Dalton conundrum. Dalton Schultz has 14 targets since Nico Collins went out 7 quarters ago, but he hasn't done a lot with them. Dalton Kincaid has been decent. I want to actually look at his quick numbers here. Dalton Kincaid, 6 for 51. He had a 2 for 34 and a 5 for 47, a 3 for 41 and a touchdown. He's getting enough done. He's getting done more than Schultz. Again, when Cooper's on the field, it helps Kincaid. I'm giving Kincaid like a 70-30 edge here. Can Schultz fall in the end zone? Yes. And that could change things. But I think Kincaid is way safer. Good question, as always. Mo Diesel next. All right, see what your question is here. Start 2. Shakir, Judy, Trey Tucker, Palmer, Tutu Atwell, and Rankum. Shakir, again, should be healthy. Last week he played limited snaps, coming back from the injury. Now he should be full go. He's number 1 on this list. Trey Tucker, I told people to sit him down last week because of the matchup, but now they're playing the Rams. They're playing the Rams, and that's a different ballgame. There's not a lot of pass rush. The corner room is not very good. Tucker's boom bust. Palmer, right now, I got to see him have a good game or two. It's just been real weird, his connection this year and his chemistry with the quarterback and his usage. Tutu Atwell, Cup's supposed to be out. Tutu Atwell's in a really good spot against the Raiders. So I would probably go Shakir 1, Tutu Atwell 2, Judy 3. I'm expecting an uptick in targets. But again, what does that mean with Deshaun Watson? Palmer's last. Trey Tucker is your boom, but you're starting 2. I don't think so. It's going to be Shakir and Tutu Atwell for me. That's going to be where I'm going to go because I think Tutu Atwell has the same upside as Tucker. So I think that makes it easy enough. Oh, well, man, I just missed that. Where is I at now? Here we go. Who should you flex? Pickens, Wandale, Worthy, Najee, or Mostert? And by the way, everybody, welcome in if you just came here, but we're getting close to inactive time, so I'll be checking those momentarily. You'll see the sheet on the screen. The green means I perceive extra upside for those players. Even if they're ranked lowly, I see it as an upside play. If you see the red, I see potential for downside despite the higher rankings. So because of the matchup and other situations, but I have them ranked. I have them ranked on purpose. But again, you got to realize the downside and upside with some players. And sometimes it helps you with your lineup decisions as well. All right, back to the question. Pickens, Wandale, Worthy, Najee, or Mostert? Sounds like a question somebody asked before. And maybe you asked it. So I'm going to say Najee. I explained this one, I think, for somebody before. Najee was your floor play. Pickens is your boom bust play, and I gave the reason for that earlier. Delroy, Sermon, or Bucky Irving? Yeah, it's a tough one. Irving has a horrific matchup. Sermon does not have a bad matchup. Irving now has to deal with maybe Rashad White's healthy, and then maybe Tucker's involved. I'm going to give Sermon the slight edge here. Because again, due to the matchup for Irving, that's problematic. I give Sermon a 51-49 edge here, knowing that he's really not a good player right now, but he's in a situation and the line is good. So they might have an advantage there. Jordan, Singletary, or Najee? Because of Philadelphia is not a bad run defense. Maybe there I see him as a little above average. Numbers rank him a different way, but I think Tracy's going to be involved. I think Singletary isn't going to have that hammer on the workload. That tells me to play Najee in a great matchup. The Jets can't stop anybody on the ground. Purdy or Baker? I'm going Baker here. I know we're always, and I have him 10 and 11 in my rankings, as you see. We always worry that Baker's going to turn into a pumpkin, but at some point we got to say, man, that offense is perfect for Baker. And Chris Godwin's been fully weaponized, and Mike Evans is off the injury report. Luke Gadecki, the right tackle, was back last week, and that's a big deal because the protection's been decent. I'm giving Baker the edge here. I think that Purdy could be in a really low-scoring game, so there's that as well. All right, see what we got here. Gary, Mooney, or Marvin Harrison? Because of the possibility that Atlanta might have a lot of success on the ground and they might get a lead and they might not have to hold on. Oh, Kenneth Walker news, Adam Schefter. Let me see what this is. This is important. Let's see what we got here. Come on now. Kenneth Walker is despite on his 24th birthday, despite his questionable injury tag due to an illness. Kenneth Walker is active. It's also possible that we see him split a little more than usual, not knowing what his illness was or is. So just be careful. Walker sounds reasonable to play, but we got to be careful with him right now. I should add downside to him on he's number 9. I'm actually going to tag a little downside on him. I'm going to put the code on there right now. That show a little downside in him just because he could see limited snaps. All right, let's get back to our question. I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. here, Gary, because I do think he'll see enough targets to do well. The matchup, Asante Samuel is out, and that's a big deal to me. And Mooney, if Atlanta has success running the ball, they might blow out Carolina or control the game. And if they do, Mooney might lose targets. And you see, Drake London is getting a big target share now. All right, Lad, questionable on Monday. Two can't. I don't know what it's relation to. So sorry. All right, Brian, need 2 receivers: Wandale, Juju, Jamo, I assume, and Dobbs. I know Jameson Williams is always risky because sometimes Goff doesn't throw a lot of passes. But man, he's got real upside. I have him ranked highly too. Jameson Williams, especially against his Minnesota team, I see them. They're going to have to use him here. Look, there's always risk with Jameson Williams, but I would get him at the top of that list. Wandale and Dobbs is close. It's very close. I think Wandale Robinson could just keep seeing enough targets to make him. And Dobbs had the touchdowns last week, but that's hard to bank on. I'm going to give Wandale the safer floor edge. He's getting it done almost every week. So I'm just going to – Dobbs is tough to sit. I'm going Wandale and Jamo here. Don't like Juju's matchup. Jordan, you're very welcome. Rowe, Sermon, or Downs? I know Anthony Richardson's back in. It's so tough, man, because, man, Josh Downs is a stud, and now we don't know. But here's the thing. I think Downs is a boom-bust play because Anthony Richardson does like to throw vertical, and Downs is a vertical slot. And that could work out real well. Trey Sermon, there's upside and downside because he's not a good runner, but the matchup isn't horrible either. I think Sermon has a higher floor than Downs. I think he has a floor. Half-point PPR, he probably has like a 6-point floor. Whereas Downs, if he just doesn't get going with the quarterback, then it could be a problem. I think Downs has real upside. It could have a big play in this game. So I think Sermon be your safe play. If you want to go boom bust, then it'd be Downs. I don't know that again, Sermon could fall in the end zone. We can't really predict that. I'd be more inclined to start Downs. I would be more inclined to start Downs here. Keith, PPR, start two PPR. All right. Achan or Mason. Because Mason may be a little bit limited with the shoulder, and Kansas City's an amazing run defense, and Achan is facing a pretty soft Indy defense. I'm giving Achan the edge here. And for wide receiver, you got Hill, Wandale, Deontay, Ayuk. Don't want to start because I have Kittle and Mace. I don't understand that, but that's all right. Jameis Winston's inactive. That's weird. And Dorian Thompson Robinson's the backup. That's weird. All right. Anyway, Hill. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with Hill. Hill had 14 PPR points in the last game. He had 8 targets. And coming out the bye, I have to think they continue to get him involved. And I think Huntley having an extra week to work with him in practice, I think that helps. Those are the two I'm going with. All right. Cletus, Marvin Harrison, Achan, or JMO. I think Achan has the best floor of this group. I know the offense has been like a slug fest. It's not been terrible, but I think Achan's going to get enough volume coming off the concussion to be your floor play. I think Jameson Williams has big ceiling in this game. If you need to swing for the big play here, I could see Williams getting 4 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. Totally could see that happening. So he is your ceiling play. But I think Achan has the best floor of this group. Where am I on the questions? There we go. Scroll up here. Okay. Kevin, McConkey or Mark Andrews? So Andrews had the 2 goose eggs in the 2 games. They ran the ball heavy, and Lamar only threw 33 passes. Jackson has not sorry, Jackson, but Andrews has 50 yards in the last couple games, 50 yards plus. He should have had touchdowns in each game, but the ball was thrown behind him 2 weeks ago. It was an easy walk-in touchdown. Last week he got the touchdown. Andrews is trending up right now. Can he get you a 0 again? Yes. So I guess I would say this: McConkey has a higher floor. His floor isn't 0. His floor is probably 7. So the safest play is McConkey. Andrews is coming on. The snaps aren't where I'd like them, but it's starting to show now. And Tampa Bay is really a good matchup for him. So I think that you got the safest layup. It's McConkey, but I think you do have potential for more upside with Andrews because Andrews is getting going here. All right, Sleek, Kincaid and Njoku. Because there's no Amari Cooper, I just can't imagine how much the defense are going to compress the field. The Cincinnati's might be terrible defensively, but they're going to compress the field. So I think I'm going to go with Kincaid here. I think Amari Cooper might help the defense soften up a little bit and give him a little more room to work. All right. And Sammy, good morning to you as well. London or McLaurin? Oh, that's a good problem to have. Here's the thing. As good as McLaurin has been, London is seeing an ungodly number of targets. And London is facing a defense without its 2 starting cornerbacks. Because of that, I got to go with London. Now, McLaurin, J.C. Horn's a good corner, and Mario Puig, my RotoWire teammate, believes that they're going to shadow McLaurin with J.C. Horn, which could make it a little bit problematic. McLaurin's getting production, but not targets. London, his targets are 10, 13, 12, and 9 in the last 4 games. I got to go with London here. Impossibles, half PPR, running back, receiver, flex. Chuba, Cook, Brown, Eckler, Tracy, Zay Flowers. All right, so you need 3. Chuba and Cook, to me, are locked in. Chuba's been amazing, and there's nothing. Jonathan Allen is out for Washington, was their best interior defender. He's out. So Chuba's going to be fine. Cook, I'm going right back to him. He's healthy now. And we got to play James Cook when he's healthy. He's like one of the primary pieces of that offense. And then for the third one, I'm going to go with Zay Flowers. And it's really because last week, Zay Flowers was able to get it done in a week where they ran the ball. The first time they had a run game and pass game that were blended and were successful. Zay Flowers right now, he had the 2 bad games, but otherwise he's on fire and he's been getting good targets. I'm going to go that way here. Let me check the injuries here. Juju Smith-Schuster expected to play as expected. Again, I just don't like the matchup. I love Juju last week. He's going to be against Charvarius Ward at least half of the time, and Diamador Lenoir. It was not bad. So I just one of those things I'd probably avoid Juju if you have a good option to go with him. Alec Pierce expected to play. Josh Downs expected to play. Michael Pittman expected to play. Deontay Johnson expected to play. Brian Robinson expected to play. And we're still waiting for inactive, so we're good right now with that. Okay. I'll come back to the inactives in a bit. Joshua, I'd start Evans. He's taken off the injury report. If they would have left him questionable, I get it. Evans is a great matchup. Baltimore's pass defense has been awful this year, and they're giving up big plays, and that works perfectly for Evans. So I'm going to give Evans the nod here. Achane or Chase Brown. Because Cleveland plays so much man, Chase Brown's not going to get that advantage of when all the teams that play zone against them, they get all the free yards and they're putting the shell back for Chase. That won't happen in this game. So I'm giving Achane the edge here. Hey, George. Aaron Jones. Love Aaron Jones this week. Probably as a pass catcher, though, not as a runner. Could get a touchdown, though. Do love Algier, Irving, or Ayuk. Really hard to sit Ayuk given your options. Irving has a terrible matchup. It might be a 3-man backfield. Algier, I love his matchup. He's probably getting about 10 carries. He could get something done there. Ayuk has enough of a floor to put me above him, though, and that's the thing. So I'm going to give Ayuk the edge here in a tough matchup. Otten or Kraft. I think they both have good floors. Otten's had 4 good weeks in a row. Kraft has been a little more up and down. I'm going to give Kraft the edge here because I both are higher scoring games, but I know Kraft only has the one big target game, but I think there's going to be a lot of field open against Houston. There's both outside linebackers. With both outside linebackers missing, that should give Kraft extra room to work. I'm going to give Kraft the edge here. Big fella, Ayuk, Hunt, or McConkey. Let's see here. Hunt is your safest floor play, I think, and Ayuk is your boom bust play. Pitts or Otten. I'm going to give Pitts the edge there. I think I answered the same question for somebody, so I'm not going to go into the detail on that one. Pitts will be your answer. It's like 60-40 on that one. George, Jones, Connor, or Mason. A lot of people are worried about Connor's matchup because they're facing the Chargers. Chargers have had a soft schedule. The numbers people are looking at them saying there's a lights out defense. Well, I don't think so. I just think they haven't played anybody. So Connor's wheels up. And last week, I think that the game got into hurry up mode and they brought in Benson as a hurry up back. I think that Connor goes back to his regular role here. I think Connor has great floor and reliable ceiling. Aaron Jones is going to be super close here, but Detroit's kind of really tough against the run. Jones got to get done as a pass catcher. So I think they both have upside. They both have risk. I think, what, I'll say this. And again, I don't know if Jones isn't quite 100% that hamstring, they both could sit some snaps. I'm going to give Connor the edge here. It's close. If your gut says Aaron Jones, go with your gut. Brian Upton, I appreciate you. And thank you. Yeah, please hit the like button, subscribe button, notifications button. That would all be greatly appreciated if you're watching on RotoWire YouTube. I might have another super chat question here. Let me see what I got here. Let's see. Yep, I got another super chat question here. Ryan. All right, hold on. In the red zone here, handoff. I think Bigsby. 25-10 Jaguars. I wonder if Doug Peterson's not getting fired now. All right. Cup probably out. Zamir White, Jamison Williams, Juju, or Tutu. I got to go with Jamison Williams here. I like Tutu. Juju has a tough matchup, but Jamison Williams, he's not always getting a ton of targets, but he's getting set up for explosive plays. They've really weaponized him, and I think that's perfect against a Minnesota team that tries to get. They don't blitz as much as last year. They try to scheme up some pressure, and I think Jamison Williams is a perfect matchup for that specific defense. I'm going with Jamison Williams here. It's a great question, as always. Let me get inside the 7-yard line here. All right, let me see it. Brian here. All right. Elton, Marvin Harrison, or Mason. I don't know that Mason's 100% with the shoulder. He may lose some carries. Kansas City's an amazing run defense. I'm going to go with Harrison. I'm going to give Harrison the edge here. I think he has a higher floor in this one. With I think that'd be better. Jedi, Mooney, or Wandale. Mooney's your boom bust play because if they run the ball very successfully against Carolina, which they easily could, they might not have to pass a lot here. And London is really eating up targets. Wandale's safer. So Wandale's your safe play because every game he's cashed for PPR and no reason to expect any differently this week. Bigsby missed the first down. It looks like 4th and 1. Looks like he didn't get it. So 25-10. All right. And so Mooney's your boom bust play because Mooney can get big plays. He can get that 100 yards and a touchdown. He can do that. But I think there's more risk in this game because they might be able to run so well. So Mooney's your boom bust and Wandale's your safe floor play. Big fella, you're very welcome. All right, let's see what we got here. Impossible. Oh, I don't do kickers. Sorry, impossible. Kickers are all luck. I'm the least lucky person on the planet. So if it's a skill question, I can answer it. But tips, team with the highest implied team total. That might be the way to go. But again, that team can score all touchdowns and no field goals. So yeah, I have nothing for you on kicker. Sorry. Is Christian Kirk and Pittman drop? It depends. If it depends if you have a clear upgrade on the waiver wire, yes, they are. I don't know what the heck they're doing with Christian Kirk. It's stunning, just completely stunning that this guy's like a 1,200 yard type receiver, and they have just like figured out a way to make him unimportant. And Pittman, look, with Pittman, I'll say this: let's see how Richardson comes back. Let's see. Give him definitely weight on Pittman. And if we get Joe Flacco back in at some point, Pittman, somebody you would want to have on your roster. Kirk more than Pittman. Lindorphins, half PPR. And Rops or 5 running backs. Top bench stash behind Mason. All right, so it's Warren, Corum, or Garendo. So basically, you're looking at which one is the best injury hedge. I'm going to say Corum. Kyron Williams missed 7 games and 5 games in his 2 seasons, and he also broke his hand in the playoff game last year. It didn't cost him time because they didn't have any more games. But he has been an injury-prone player. They're giving him heavy workload. He is the most likely of those running backs to miss time. Corum moved into the backup role in the last game, first time all year. So to me, it sounds like he's ready. So I'm going to go Corum as the call there. Next question. Good morning to you as well. The coffee sign. I like that. Yeah, I had my one early. I always do it before the XM show, 9 to 10 Eastern. All right, full PPR need 2 receiver and a flex. Worthy, Waddle, Shakir, Aaron Jones, and Nick Chubb. Aaron Jones should be used enough as a receiver. His targets the last 3 full games were like 5, 6, and 5, something like that. They're using him in the receiving game. So I'm going to go with Aaron Jones there. I'm going to give Waddle a little edge over Shakir. Waddle had 4 for 40 in the last game, but I do think with the bye and Huntley having a little extra time. But here's the thing. So I'm going to say Jones for sure, and I'm going to make Waddle the floor play. I think Shakir might have a little more boom bust though. So if you want to shoot for more upside, I think Shakir could have more upside in this game. But I think Waddle is safer. And look, Waddle can break a play too. So it's close. It's very close there. If it's my lineup, I'm probably going to give Waddle a shot because they really started bringing him on in that last game a bit. And the signs of life really helped give me a little excitement about him. Let me check inactives here. So come out here. We knew Dallas Goedert would be out, so we're set there. Lions right guard Kevin Zeitler doesn't help, but it doesn't hurt. Not too bad there. All right. Ray Davis is active with a calf injury, but we also know that James Cook is back. So Davis might have a little more work than he was getting, but probably not a lot. And let's see here. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is visiting the Saints in the light of Rashid Shaheed. There's nothing new right now, so we'll keep coming back. I'm surprised there's not more here. Devin Singletary's active. Again, I do think there's a good chance he splits that work with Tracy right now. I think the organization would be kind of dumb to not keep, the young man involved. All right, let's give all Maniac. Let me get your question in a second here. All right. Yes, good luck to everyone as well. PPR, Wandale, Juju, Cup's probably not playing, so we'll leave him out. Wandale is your floor play, and I've talked about these, so you already heard the explanation. Mooney's your boom bust play because if they run the ball with success, he might not have the big game, but if they don't, and they got to throw, then he has big upside. So Wandale's much safer, though. Bucky or Singletary. They both have tougher rushing matchups. They both are probably going to split the backfield. I don't know how much Tracy's cutting in. I'm more inclined to go with Bucky Irving here. That's 51-49. But here's the deal. We don't know for sure that Tyrone Tracy's going to get a ton of work. So that's the problem. If Singletary gets 70% of the work, then he wins. So you know what? Maybe that's flipped to Singletary for that reason. Because we don't know. If Tracy doesn't get off to a hot start, then it might just be a whole lot of Singletary. Give Singletary because Irving might legitimately be in a 3-man backfield now. Pitts or Freiermuth. I think Freiermuth has a more stable floor. Last week was the only bad game he had. He has 7 points PPR a week, but Pitts has been close to that the last few. Fryermuth, some I there were multiple screens on last week. He had a catch in the end zone, but then they got I don't know if it was penalty or something that got taken away. I do think we get a little bump for 1 week in a passing game for Russell Wilson. I'm gonna lean Fryermuth there, but it's a gut call on that one for sure. Pitts has been more involved. All right, Tom. Let's see what you got. Chase Brown or Wandale Robinson. Um, I'm going to go with Robinson here. I think Robinson with that safe floor every week. Chase Brown, like I said, Cleveland plays a lot of man. Brown has been living against zones where they drop in the shell back to try to stop Jamar Chase, and he's had free yardage. I don't know if the free yardage is there in this game. So I'm going to give Robinson the edge for that reason. Is Pearsall worth a stash? I even wondered before the season, what's his role going to be here? Like Jawan Jennings is out this week. But is he really displacing Jawan Jennings? I don't think so, because Jennings blocks his behind off, and he's a good pass catcher. Pearsall's not going to be a blocker, and you got Ayuk, and you got Debo. So I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, nice downfield catch. Little garbage time from Drake May. All right, let's see what we got going here. All right, where are we on the questions? I'm caught up on super chat questions, it looks like. Let me just double check here. Yes, I'm caught up on super chat questions. Okay. Twin City Awards. Let me see here. Drake May, under heat. All right. Najee or Sermon. To me, it's Najee. The Jets can't stop anyone on the ground. Najee looked great last week. Sermon is very dicey. He's not a good running back. He splits work with Goodson. And if Goodson gets rolling, Sermon could fall behind. I think it's safer to go at Najee. All right, let's see here. Daniel, Parkinson or Otten. I'm gonna go with Otten. Otten he had 3 games of 40 yards. Last week he found the end zone. He's been more consistent. Parkinson is always that player. It's just like Tyler Higbee was there. Higbee'd have a few games and they just go away from him. And you never know when McVay is going to just go away from him. Otten is a part of that offense right now. And I do think it's fairly high scoring game against Baltimore. So I'm going to give Otten the edge for that reason. Oh, wow. He almost got picked off. We're targeting Austin Hooper too much, way too much. All right. Daniel Caps. Yes, I can tell you got the caps going here. Full PPR. Montgomery, Achan, Pollard, Mason. I am inclined to go with Monty and Pollard. Pollard's the only game in town. Pollard has a super easy matchup this week. I have Pollard by running back 12. Buffalo's been terrible against the run. And I'm going to go with Montgomery because Minnesota, they're without Blake Cashman. It's a big injury to them. They've been a good run defense, but that offensive line is going to probably maul them. But not having Cashman, that's a huge loss for their run defense. Achan's close, but that offense has been a bit dysfunctional. I've been trying to talk them up, but I haven't seen enough from that offense right now. I think Achan, it's tough to weaponize them because defense are really kind of loading things up on them. When Tua comes back, maybe a different story. Man, when Tua comes back, they better put a Guardian helmet on him. I don't want that young man getting hurt again. I just can't stomach to see him getting hurt and then they keep rolling him back out there. It's a real problem for me. But I want to see that Guardian helmet on him. I don't want that kid getting hurt again. I don't want him to go through it, his family to go through it. It's awful. Let me see if there's inactives quick before I get back to these questions. Oh, L'Jarius Sneed is inactive against the Bills, the Titans corner. I tell you what, when Amari Cooper's on the field now, this is a big deal because they're really going to struggle. Touchdown pass. So Will Levis coming in late with some garbage time numbers. Is it KJ Osborne? KJ Osborne, who is inactive some games, gets a garbage time touchdown. And they're in the game. They're only 1 score down now. Well, if they get the extra point, the 2-point conversion here. All right. Kenneth Walker, who said is active. Nothing else new right now. They're kind of trickling in here. We should have a lot more by now. It's 10 of the hour. All right. Nobody started KJ Osborne. Everybody's like, what the heck? Seriously? We want some Keyshawn Butte. All right. Ridley, Juju, Goodson, or Charbonnet. They're talking the game. The offensive coordinator says Ridley's going to be heavily involved. Not only 8 targets, he had nothing to get him a more short game. Maybe I trust Mason Rudolph a lot more than I trust Will Levis. I'm going to give Ridley the edge here. Ridley's had a big game. Charbonnet, I really don't know how healthy or sick Kenneth Walker is. I know he's getting some work. Juju, bad matchup. Goodson is going to be dependent on some things here. So, so I'm going to give Ridley the edge there. He's getting the targets. He had 8 last. I know he has 2 catches for like 14 yards over the last 3 weeks combined, but I gotta give him that shot here. Mike, you need three downs, Worthy, Wandale, Pittman, and Waddle. I'm going to go with Robinson, Pittman, and Waddle. I do expect each of them to have healthy target totals. Downs, I have to see him play with Richardson. I like the idea of him getting a deep pass down the slot. But then in that case, are we going to see the quarterback miss him? And so that's really problematic. Worthy again, it's just he's a great decoy. Once in a while they get him the ball, but if something isn't schemed up just right, it's just too difficult to trust him. So I'm gonna go with those three. Let me just make sure I got all the super chats. Yep, I got them. All right, good. All right, Tom Flex, you need one. Chan, Higgins, or JMO? Pick two. Yeah, good question there. Good question. Um, Really, JMO's your boom bust guy because I think he can get 100 yards and a touchdown here. But again, he doesn't always get a lot of targets. I think he's going to get him here. I'd be inclined to start him. HN and Higgins are kind of similar. Higgins is getting more targets than Waddle. So there's that. And Cleveland plays a lot of man. And I think that's actually an advantage for Joe Burrow. I think that'd be an advantage for him. I think Achan is your floor play over Higgins. Higgins is more boom bust because he could have a big game, but in that man coverage, maybe if Denzel Ward's on him, maybe he's not open so much. So go with Jameson, and then I'd go HN if I want the floor play. If you want to go boom bust, it'd be Higgins. George, Mason, or Ayuk. Mason, it's a tougher matchup for Mason. Ayuk hasn't been getting open like he normally does, which that bothers me. I'm going to give Ayuk the edge here because I think Mason, maybe that shoulder's a problem and he's limited against a bad defense. He's not much of a pass catcher anyway, and that shoulder could mean he doesn't get any targets. If he doesn't fall in the end zone, you could be looking at 5 points. I think Ayuk in half PPR gets over that in any circumstance. Montgomery or Montgomery. Cooper, we just don't know what his role is yet. He may be in a very limited capacity today. We don't know for sure, but we got to go with Monty. Monty's like a top 12 running back, and Blake Cashman's out. That means a lot defensively. Full PPR, Debo or Evans. Evans is off the injury report. Baltimore is very bad at defending big plays. Since you can flex and start, go Debo and Evans. Debo should be heavily involved against Kansas City. Underneath is kind of where you can beat them, and I think they're going to game plan him in. Dell, look, he had a good game last week, but it's kind of hard to bank on that because the two highs have really been making him struggle. So I'm just going to leave Dell out of that one. Next one. Daniels or Jalen Hurts or Jordan Love. Somebody asked me earlier today, had a great question between Hurts, Daniels and Jordan Love. It's very hard to sit Jaden Daniels. The rushing floor. They should be able to score at will against Carolina. Jordan Love is a great matchup because the second corner, Kamari Lassiter is out. Free safety, Jimmy Ward's out. Two outside linebackers out, and the Packers attack the middle. Jalen Hurts obviously hasn't had the big rushing yards. In the last 3 games, I don't think he has 35 rushing yards. So I'm gonna give Daniels a 51-49 edge over Love. But if you have that Love game could shoot out way more than the Daniels game. And if the running game for Washington gets going, they might not have to throw much and they might not need to overdo them. Sleek, ask your question again if I missed you. If I didn't see it, I apologize. But see, there's nobody else in here. I only got 10, 15 questions. So ask your question if I didn't see it, and I will get to it. But if I miss you, I'm sorry. I do my best to click everyone, but I get the super chat, takes me off the screen, and I do my best to find my way back. All right. Daniels or Jalen. So that's my answer on that. It'd be real close. Daniels gets a slight edge over Love, but if you got a gut feel on Love, definitely go with it because that game should be high scoring. Start Deontay full point, have Pickens on the bench. Deontay is healthy enough to play. He has 3 injuries, but I think the floor of Johnson should still be okay. I'd go with that. Connor or Addison for flex. I love Addison this week. I think that he's going to have an opportunity. Connor has a higher floor. Addison hasn't been getting a ton of targets. Some of that's injury related. So there's been that. Connor's matchup is being misrepresented. Sleek, you keep telling me I missed your question, but just ask me the question and I'll answer it for you. I think it popped up again. So just please ask it. It's real simple. We'll get you fixed in a second. All right. So Connor, I think, has a safer high floor. Last week, I know he only played 2 snaps. They went into turbo mode and they pulled him out. It wasn't an injury. But Connor the Chargers, they've had an easy schedule. That's why their numbers are so good against the run. So Connor's safer. and I think he has an equal ceiling to Addison. So I would trust Connor here. Next question. Start two of Wilson, Downs, or Pierce. Yeah, that's a tough one, right? Yeah, I know they all have a lot of questions around them. I do think Arizona is going to have to take to the air once in a while, but that could be a lower scoring game, right? They could play at a slugfest with the Chargers, so there's that. I don't want to start two Colts. I definitely want to start two Colts. So I'm going to start Wilson because I don't want to start two Colts in this one. So start Wilson, but here's the other two. I think Downs is a safer floor than Pierce. So if you want the safest play, go Downs, even with the inaccurate quarterback. But I think Pierce, of course, that downfield connection he has with Richardson, you got the potential for a long touchdown. So if you want to go boom bust, go Pierce. But if you want the floor, go Downs. I think because again, I'm not starting. I don't want to start both of those indie guys. I don't think they all eat. William, Aaron Jones, or Achan. I'm going to go with Aaron Jones because of his involvement in the passing game. Again, Achan, they've just been seeing too many loaded boxes. He doesn't have any room to run. That's a problem. Lee, Hunter, Henry, dart throw is working. Yeah, it's good. That's awesome, man. Good. That's facts. You're very welcome. George Mason. I'm going with Connor there. I think he has more floor and upside here. Achan over Pickens. It's equal. They both have boom bust potential. Pickens, if they usually don't move Sauce Gardner, but if they do and they travel, that's a problem. If they don't, then Pickens could go nuts. Achan is, obviously uber talented and he could break something at any point in time. They're both very risky plays. I think Achan has a higher floor because he'll get double digit touches, whereas we're not sure with Pickens. Yeah, Boutte starter for sure. Walker's changed to healthy, but that he if he had whatever the illness was, it's one of those things where maybe he could be tired. So I still think he sees some diminished work. I have no idea. I'm not in the sideline, but I would guess since they added him to the injury report Saturday, I'd imagine Charbonnet sees a little extra work here. Juju or Tutu? I'm going Tutu. Juju's has a tougher matchup this week. I don't like Charvarius Ward against him. Tutu should be a pretty big factor here. All right. And then Sleek, if you want to ask that question, please do. And I'll happy to get you. I just didn't see it. So Cameron, full PPR, start two. Wandale, Dobbs, or Downs. Wandale has probably the best floor of this group. Dobbs is close. Downs is in this group of receivers. I just got to see him work with Richardson and get some success. I think Downs is an enormously talented player. It's just very hard to trust what I've seen from his quarterback. So I think Wandale's the safest floor play here, and I think he has an equal ceiling to Romeo Dobbs. So I'd go with that. I got another super chat question. Come back to KYO. Yeah, somebody saw the tutu or juju, and it did look funny. I thought the same thing. He did that on purpose. I could tell too. All right, you've got here we go. Kevin, the credit guy, start two. Parkinson, Ray McLeod, Bateman, or Likely. Likely's targets have been weird. He had the 2 touchdown game, but it came on 3 targets. He had 4 targets, a 2 for 27, a 1 for 26, and a 1 for 4. It's really hard to trust him now. Bateman, 4 for 71, 4 for 58, and a touchdown. He had a 3 for 28 and a touchdown. I think Bateman has the best chance of this group to score. Ray McLeod is close, but this might be a game where Atlanta doesn't need him because the opponent is so bad. I'd be inclined to go Bateman in a likely shootout. It's a great question. All right. Let's get these last few questions done here. See where we're at here. All right. Let's get these. Let's finish up here. KYO, Harrison, Pittman, Dobbs, or Mason. I am giving Harrison an edge here. I think Harrison, again, not seeing enough targets, but I do think in a specific matchup, Harrison, I list him as an upside guy. You see on the 25. Chargers are down Asante Samuel. Joey Bosa's probably not playing. That helps him. I think Dobbs is your next best floor play after this. I think that game, Kamari Lassiter, the corner's out, free safety Jimmy Ward's out. So I like Harrison and Dobbs there. Mason has a tougher matchup, but I'm not sure about the shoulder. And Pittman, I'm not sure about Richardson right now. Christine, Chase Brown, or Eckler. Eckler may not be needed as a receiver a lot against Carolina. I think Brown gets more volume here. Brown is better, I think, against zone. There's a lot of man today, but I think Chase Brown is more likely to get more volume than Eckler. So I'm going to go with him in this one. I think, yeah, I think Eckler's boom bust because could he break a big play or two? Yes. So that gives him boom bust. I think his floor is low though. Chase Brown, I think, has a higher floor. I don't think he has Eckler. So play Brown if you want a floor play, and if you need to go risk a low floor for maybe a big player, for upside, then it'd be Eckler. Safe is Brown, boom bust is Eckler. Dell or A Chan. You know what? Like I said, Achan had the game last week, and I'm sorry, Dell had the game last week, but the two highs have really given him a problem. So I'm going to go with Achan here. I think Achan's going to get double digit touches here, and I'm going to look to him. Indy's all kinds of beat up on defense, so I'd go that route. Jeff, more than you. Jeff, I'm going to go with Wandale for that floor. Again, I love Down. I think Down's just like a star, but Richardson's just so inaccurate. And Downs always has upside, and I think he could get vertical in the slot. But Wandale's been money every week in PPR, and there's no reason to think against Philly with that middle of the field he won't be here as well. Shooks in Hill or oh man. So look, I got to answer this. Hill had 8 targets last week. He had a decent performance, and I think they could get him more involved. And his Hills has an easy matchup here. So, but he has a bad quarterback, right? JMO could go off, but I don't know his targets are going to be high enough. So Hill is your floor play. Hill's going to get you double digit PPR points, but he may not blow that away. I don't think he has a game like he has with Tua. Williams, if you need 20 plus points and you're risking a floor, then you go with Williams. But if you want to bank a safe 10 to 12, 13 points, you go with Hill. All right, Evans, Adams, Devontae Smith. Pick two. Man, this is a good question. Yeah, DK is probably a lock here. I think that game shoots out wildly. I got to go with Evans against Baltimore. Baltimore's been horrific against receivers, especially downfield guys. Between Adams and Smith, look, I imagine Aaron Rodgers in his first game with Adams is going to go to his boy, his guy, his man, his friend, his buddy, all that good stuff. I'm going to go with Adams here. I think Adams has a high target volume here. Real tough to sit Devontae Smith, but I think that's the way I'm going to go. That game's Dalton Schultz or Fryermuth. Schultz has 14 targets in the 7 quarters since Nico's been out, but he hasn't done much of them. Fryermuth has mostly been a floor play. I think there's a 1-game bump from Russell Wilson. I do think Wilson's going to come out trying to look to establish himself, and I think Fryermuth's their number 2 option. I'm going to give Fryermuth the edge here over Schultz. Algier or Worthy? So look, this is going to be simple. Algier gets about 10 touches. He has a super easy matchup. He should get you about 10 points. Worthy is boom bust. Worthy can get a long touchdown and get you to 18 or so, but he also can get you 4. So if you want to need a safe play for your game, go with Algier. But if you got to swing for the fence, Algier probably isn't having a big game. So Worthy would be your shot there. David, Juju, Wandale, Cooper, or Otten. You have neighbors of 1. Wandale's the safest. Wandale's the safest for floor. Safest. You need. I'd go with him in there, and I go with Cooper. Cooper may play limited snaps, but I do think they're going to look. There's some basic routes you can run, and I think Josh Allen is going to try to soften the defense up. It's a little risky, but I trust him over Otten. And Juju has a bad matchup. That's what I would go with there. All right, and then Tyra. It's very impossible to know, and Philly's not a good matchup. I think Tracy gets 10 touches. I think he gets 10 touches. HN should get 12 to 14. That'd be my guess on that. And there we go. And then we got a few more here. Oh, we got a few more here. Let's get through these. Ramondre, rest of schedule. I think he's in the running back 20 range. I think he's around running back 20. He gets enough volume. But again, injuries are always a concern. He has 2 years of 5 missed games in the last 3 years. Montgomery or Chuba. Can't go wrong either way, Dr. Roberto. Both are great options. Chuba has a great matchup. Montgomery, Blake Cashman's out for Minnesota, so that's a big deal. So I think Montgomery's more likely to score. This is a 50-50 coin flip, but I have Montgomery ranked higher because I think this game scores high. Montgomery is the guy who's more likely to score 3 touchdowns, right? And he could have a 3-touchdown game. It could happen. I give Montgomery the edge for that, but you can't go wrong either way. Trust your gut. Amazon Pancakes, best streaming defense, Washington, the Chargers, or the Rams. I'm going to look, Washington's terrible, but man, they're playing Carolina, Chargers, the Rams. You know what? I'm going to go with the Rams. Let's go with the Rams here because Las Vegas is very, very limited. Goddard, the backup, or Ertz. Pick up Goddard. Oh, you mean Calcaterra? Ertz has a great floor. Otten has a great floor. I go with Otten there. Otten has had a good floor for 4 weeks, and he scored last week. He had 3 40-yard games. Um, I'd go with Dobbins over Walker because I'm worried about how healthy from the illness Walker is. He might, if he has to be spelled, if it's a stomach thing, I have no idea. But if they put him on the injury list yesterday, I mean, he's probably dehydrated, possibly. It's like a guess. I'm not a doctor, right? But I'm going to go with Dobbins. I don't. Dobbins is a good matchup too. Darnold or Cousins. Cousins had that one great game. They haven't need him a lot. Here's the problem for Cousins: if they run the ball, and they might not need him a lot. Darnold is probably gonna have to pass here. Cousins has a higher floor because Sam Darnold can always just turn into a pumpkin. If you need an upside play, go with Darnold. If you want a floor play, go with Cousins. Cousins should be fine for a floor. Mike, good luck this week to you. Purdy or Darnold? I do think Purdy has a bad matchup here. I'd give again the same caveat that Darnold can implode at any time, but I don't think Purdy has a high floor and high ceiling here. I'd go with Darnold probably. Laporta or Kraft. Laporta's not getting targets 1 to 3 a game, but then Kraft isn't. He had that one game at 9, but he's not getting many more. The both outside linebackers are out for Houston, so I'd give Kraft an edge. Brendan, I'm running back to help. Charbonnet or Sermon? I do. Sermon's not good. I get it. He's not good. But I think in this game against Miami, I think he's going to have a role. And I think with the mobile quarterback Richardson, I think we might see more room for him to run. So I'm going to give Sermon a brief edge here. Should you pick up Warren? No, I'd go with Sermon there. Dr. Roberto. Jay, appreciate you. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. It's Monster 3, Charbonnet or Braylon. Braylon Allen went down just a couple of touches last week, and I think that the new coach, Todd Downing, they realize we got to get Breece Hall on the field. I'm going to go Charbonnet. I think he gets more touches. Harrison Jr., Addison, McConkey, Watson, or Bucky Irving. Your best floor play is Harrison in this one. Addison's your boom bust play. I think he could have a big game here, but again, as you know, the second option of trusting Sam Darnold, that's a little tough. If you got to swing for upside as Addison, safe floor, I'm going to go with Harrison Jr. Joey, Pickens, Worthy, or Trey Sermon? I'm going to give Pickens in this specific question. I'm going to give him Pickens. I don't know if Gardner is going to travel. He usually doesn't. If he doesn't, I think Russell Wilson's going to try to get him the ball. I'm going to give Pickens the edge. I think he's got like 50 yards like in 3 of the last 4 games. So I'm going to roll with him. Bowers over Dell and Deontay. No, not crazy at all. Bowers been eating. And I think in this game he eats as well. Rams are not a problem in the middle of the field. Should I accept this trade? Trade London and Thomas Jr. for Kupp and Devontae Smith? I wouldn't. Thomas Jr. has had 2 tough matchups, and last week was bad against him, but he tough matchup today, and he like beat Gonzalez for a big play. I wouldn't. And London's getting like 10 plus targets a game in the last 4. No, I wouldn't trade them away. And Kupp can't trust an older dude to stay healthy anymore. It's tough. 2-2 over Algier for flex full. It's close. Algier's got a great matchup. He'll get 10 touches. Tutu is a part of that offense. He probably gets the ball in this one. The Raiders are nothing to worry about defensively. Algier has a safer floor, but I think Tutu could get you 80 yards and a touchdown, but that's risk. So if you want the safest play, it's Algier. But if you want to swing for some upside, it's Tutu. Ball Maniac, Chargers, Giants, Ravens. Probably the Ravens. I think that could be a shootout, but there could be turn like last week. Mayfield threw 3 picks, but they scored a ton of points. Probably go with the Ravens. Chargers without Samuel and Bosa, it's tough. Mason, Chubb, or Pickens. Man, it's a tough one. Mason has the safest floor. I'm still worried about his shoulder. Pickens is close. Chubb's tough because he has a great matchup. I don't know how many carries he's getting. So there's a lot of uncertainty. He could score a touchdown. He could break a run, but he also could get 10 carries for 40 yards and be done. I think Mason is the safest floor. I think Pickens is your boom bust play. So if you want to swing for upside, if he's not on Sauce Gardner, Pickens could go off here. So you've got that in the back pocket. Madison or Sermon? Oh, it's a tough call. Madison's our goal line guy, but will they get it in the goal line? He gets a few catches here and there. Sermon, again, he'll be the goal line choice if Richardson doesn't run it. I'm going to give Sermon a 51-49 edge, but literally flip a coin there. TG 78 Sunday in Green Bay. Nice. Yeah, be snow, no doubt. Whittington, Juju, Worthy. Whittington for floor. He's been very involved the last 2 games. Worthy, if you want a boom bust swing for the ceiling, but have a low floor possibly. Juju has a bad matchup. It's the only reason I don't like him. 49ers have 2 good corners. Charvarius Ward could shut him down. Connor, Montgomery, Harrison Jr. I am going with Connor, Montgomery, and Cook here. They all should be heavily involved. They all should have opportunities in the red zone. I'm going to go with those 3. Robinson, if he was 100%, I'd have him in that group. But because I'm worried about the knee and Harrison Jr. just hasn't been used well enough. Yep. And then last one, Lockett, Waddle, or Chubb. Waddle is your floor play. And I'm gonna stick with Waddle here. Again, I just don't know what to expect from Chubb. I'll do one more. John Whittington. I'm gonna go with Whittington for floor, Worthy for boom bust. All right, guys, have a great day, guys and gals. Good luck. See you next week.